For many, this heat, dust, and isolation remain the perception of agriculture. However, in the 21st century, agriculture is an exciting, high-tech sector that feeds the world.
Good morning.
Good morning, dear Walt. How are you this morning?
I'm all right. It was a long night last night, and for those, which I doubt there's many that didn't watch the rugby, everybody got in bed after 12. And I saw a video on TikTok this morning where the woman walks into recording as she walks in, says, and her comment is, I didn't watch the whole game, but coming into the living room to this, and there's a husband sitting with his hands in his hair, and the table is laying on its side, and the kiddies' chairs are all over the place. And it's just, I've got to book an appointment with the cardiologist this morning.
Well, isn't it wonderful that that things went well and that people enjoyed it? And
there wasn't much enjoyment, to be honest. It was just.
The Booker managed to pull South Africans together like few else does. So it's good news.
Yeah. Okay. So what's in the news this morning? A couple of interesting things. Firstly, today is World Food Day, official World Food Day.
It's World Food Day. Yes.
Right. So that's a little bit of what we're going to be talking about. This ties in with that.
Yes, and World Food Day last week, 2 weeks ago, we formed World Food Day activities on behalf of the Western Cape Department of Agriculture, and I think it ties in with this month, ties in with World Food Day, and today is the actual day, and it's about making sure that it's a part of the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, FOA, and it's about making sure that people have food. And top on our agenda today for discussion is what's happening with the potato price.
Yeah, so let me put this up. This is a statement from Potatoes SA, and this is available on their website. Right. So, yes, everybody needs food, but can we afford it? The way it's looking at the moment, I don't think anybody can afford 250 Rand a pocket of potatoes.
Yeah, I think all South Africans are feeling the pinch especially when they go to the supermarket. It's very tough at the moment, and I think we as consumers ourselves we are feeling it, and I think that there must be everybody else in South Africa must be feeling it. And the gist of this article is it boils down to
one of the primary factors contributing to the price increase is a significant impact of load shedding on the industry, which has hindered farmers from maintaining consistent irrigation practices. Consequently, they've had to scale back the usual produce planting. Now, for those who don't know, potatoes are mostly grown under pivots. So let's tie this back in with my trip that I did last week with Agrico. Agrico builds something which is called a VSD, a variable speed drive. I think it is the full word for VSD, but basically this controls the pumps and the pivots and everything. So it will make sure that the water is pumped consistently at a constant pressure right through. And one of the features that they've built in is that it will restart the pivots immediately after load shedding has come back online, so that there's no additional lag time on the pivot. So if the pivot was in the middle of its circle and load shedding comes on, you don't have to drive from pivot to restart them and reset them to get going again. It will automatically do it. It keeps it in its memory, and it will do that, which is a lot better than wasting an extra 2 or 3 hours, and especially when we're down to stage 6, by the time you've got all your pivots up and running again, you might be back to another stage of load shedding. So it is again, the consumers paying the price for the ANC stuff ups with our beautiful country.
Yeah. So it's right back to putting the blame at the door of the government because of load shedding, and so all the consumers having to pay more because potatoes are not as, they're becoming a bit scarce, and it's always about supply and demand. So
yeah, also talking about fertilizer prices increases and all that. Yes, all of that plays a big part, but I just think it is such a terrible thing. The same with the eggs. There was Farmer Angus, or Angus McIntosh, who's on our latest podcast that we released on Friday. He put a post up on Saturday morning that they are also running out of eggs. Now they do everything free range, organic, the whole bang shoot. But the general egg industry is probably going to take 6 months to a year to get back up to running at full scale again. Now, there was no contingency plans put into place. I think they said that to get back into full production, only the third generation of chickens that comes through the system now is going to be the optimal producers. The first one will just start to reproduce to get more chicks for the market. Then that one will come more into production, and then that the generation follows on that will be the one who's producing the eggs that we buy in the shops. So I don't know. It's I know too little about this kind of stuff. They spoke to the communication person from Poultry South Africa this morning on the radio, and he also said pretty much the same. I don't think people's put contingency plans in place.
Yeah. So does the problem with the shortage of eggs and all the avian flu, does it tie in with load shedding as well?
They will probably, well, put it this way: if you've got a whole battery full of chickens, and the power is down, and the fans can't circulate the air, it's a breeding ground for pests and diseases. So, well, in my personal opinion, I'm 100% sure that load shedding will definitely have an impact on that as well.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to something a little bit more positive. Talk about the citrus citrus trade protocol with China bears fruit for growers from Zimbabwe. And that's work that we did last year, which is bearing fruit for the Zimbabweans this year. So you were there, Dewald. Tell us more.
Yeah, let me just put it up on the screen here for you guys. There we go. It's a short article, and it's basically, the source was the Herald of Zimbabwe. And it basically says that citrus exports to China have started with 12 containers of oranges successfully landing in China, while 34 are still in transit. According to Plant Quarantine Services Institute, the head, Namo Mudhada, the current exports of citrus to China via the port of Durban were only for oranges. The pilot phase of the citrus export to China began in August with containers of oranges from the Beitbridge area being shipped via the port of Durban. To date, we have issued phytosanitary certificates. Mudhada said that 12 of the containers were already in China, while the other 34 in transfer. He revealed that oranges and lemons were also exported to the Middle East, while grapefruit and lemons were destined for Europe. The country is also working on adding other products in high demand in China, with blueberry protocol still in the pipeline. The country, what they've also said here is that 15 containers of lemons to the UAE from the port of Beira since the start of the season. A major milestone was the export of a consignment of 15 containers to the UAE through Beira, the first of such exports in 25 years. Right, so interestingly, and for those that didn't know, we were involved with the citrus protocol to China last year, where we live streamed from Zimbabwe to China the inspection of all their protocols, packhouses and orchards. It's a fantastic our highlight. Well, we had two highlights last year. We went to the United States and then Zimbabwe. And Zimbabwe is, sorry to say it, but was a much bigger highlight than the United States for me. I talk about it like all the time. And it was not just because the people were so incredible. It was just incredible to see how those growers operate there. So I'm very happy to see that this is literally bearing the fruits of their labors.
Yeah, so I mean, it's actually quite exciting if you think back how you were live streaming from rural Zimbabwe via very dodgy links, and the message got across, and the protocols have been approved, and Zimbabwe is exporting as a result of the fact that Lucentlands was able to provide the live streaming service to them. So it was a huge highlight, and I mean, as you say, you really enjoyed Zimbabwe, and you saw some amazing things. And you maybe got some footage there of what they do with their discarded fruit. One of the protocols with packhouses is that any fruit that is not fit for packing needs to be discarded, and normally it's buried. But in Zimbabwe, they have a different way of getting rid of their fruit. So we'll show you that in a moment.
So again, for those that don't know, I just want to show quickly at what scale these guys are packing. I'll show one or two more. Okay, so as Louise said, they must discard the rotten fruit that might be infected, either by burying it in a hole, or as what they do in this case. I just want to see if there's a nice video that shows this.
It's certainly a unique way of getting rid of fruit, and very spectacular.
Right, so that all gets dumped into a place which, okay, that one is not long enough.
So the farmers take the fruit on the back of their tractors, and they go and discard it in a place where wildlife can actually enjoy the fruit.
This is basically pulp that comes from the juice factory, but they do the same with the oranges, as you saw there earlier. And the elephants come in by the droves to come and eat this.
So it's also an opportunity for visitors to come and watch how they dispose of the oranges, and to see these massive herds of elephants and also some monkeys coming in and enjoying the oranges. And these are wild animals. They live wild. They're not kept there for that purpose. They migrate in and out of the area. And what an incredible opportunity to see this in action.
Yes, I can quickly show one or two pictures of this. Let me just get it back on the screen here. Share screen.
So, you know, in different parts of the world, people have different solutions to problems. So one of them is getting rid of the oranges. Well, the herds of elephant assist them with that.
This is all done at Bishopstone Estate, which is run by the Knotts, Andrew and his family. And again, it's more than a year later, but I would still like to just again thank them for the hospitality that they've shown to us while we were there. Okay, let me just see if I can.
Dear, what about how many elephants would you say came around to eat the fruit when you were watching?
Oh my goodness! I've got pictures here just to quickly show, and I think let me just find this. There we go. Right, so that's just a photo of the guys offloading, and you can see the young guy taking a selfie with the elephant.
So that's pretty incredible. And you were able to see all of this from the vantage point.
Yes.
Wow. So it's obviously providing seasonal food for the animals, and it's a way of recycling the food without throwing it away or wasting it. And what an incredible opportunity for you to see that.
I just want to see if I can get a picture of one of the big groups that were standing together. I would say at one point there was about
Wow, look at that. That's so cute.
150, 200 elephants that must have been there. Look at that.
Wow.
And
Wow. Incredible.
if you look in the background here, there's still more coming. They all came out of the bush at the back there to come and eat.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, it's
right.
great news. It's great news for Zimbabwe that things are working and things are happening for them. And in addition to the Chinese exports, that all these other exports are happening as well, that they are shipping to the UAE. And very, very good news for Zimbabwe.
Yes.
So good.
Yes,
It's
for
good.
sure.
It's good to be able to share some good news today as well.
Yep. Right. So I think that's it.
That's it. It's Monday. It's lots of work to be done. We don't just sit around and have chats in the office. We actually get out there and do a lot of work. So we'll keep you posted on what we're up to,
and manage and manage the social media and put the podcast
yes,
out. And it's a never-ending hamster
but
wheel.
always fun. So have a good week, and we'll chat soon.
Talking about the podcast, the one that we put out on Friday with Angus
Yes.
McIntosh. It's a really, really interesting one for those people that are interested in the buzzword at the moment, regenerative agriculture. Go and listen. It's well worth it. I will put the link in the comments. Yeah.
Great stuff. Have a good week. Chat tomorrow.
All righto.